Um, will you ever think about writing a sports book? Because I know we have a mutual friend that wrote a sports book.
Yeah, we've actually talked about it a few times. I definitely do want to do it. I think that's definitely a bucket list thing I want to do. Not really even so much for it to sell or anything like that. Just something to do um, before I die. I definitely do want to do that in the next few years. I think I definitely want to make it a goal, make it a bucket list. It was
Right.
gonna be called the purest game, and we were gonna
Mm,
talk about baseball and everything like that, and how every other sport, baseball gets a lot of slack for how it's behind the times and it's a slower game and everything's like that. But every other sport has had to change their rules to keep up with the American public. And baseball has
that's
never
true.
changed the rules. The ball's same size, the bat's same size, the fields are the same size for the most part. So, besides for that little steroid scandal, um, it really has been the only game that's stuck to its guns with
Right.
with its originality.
Well, it's truly America's pastime, right? It's like
Right. Yeah.
it really sticks with that. And that was that the first sport you truly loved as far as
Yeah.
playing
That
it?
was my dad took me to Shea Stadium as a kid. My whole family's big Met fans. So that was always my love and passion was definitely baseball.
So tell me how you transitioned from the journalism aspect of writing sports to like kind of reporting it, and then even now doing a podcast, which is I guess more freedom in that than just you reporting the way you would in the writing structure or radio.
Yeah. I think like anything, I've also adapted, and radio and podcasting has become a huge platform. The newspaper isn't as popular as it used to be. Obviously, there's still very good writers out there who report and do like sideline reporting and write columns and things like that. But right now, everybody's always looking at their phone, but they don't want to be looking at their phone and not be able to do something else at the same time. So I think
Right,
that's why I kind of more transitioned to the radio and podcast aspect of it, because you can still hear my opinion while you're on Facebook or while you're on Instagram or
right.
whatever you're doing. So, but I do still like to write. I wrote an article recently, but during the MLB playoffs. So I do still try. Oh, sorry, the NBA playoffs in the bubble. So I do still try and write because I don't want to get too rusty. I took a break from a while, and I really want to pick that back up. But that's
Right.
really more the
Keep your
reason
sword
why I have.
sharp.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's why I did. But that's why I did transition more into the radio podcast thing.
Okay. So tell me more about your podcast. I think you also have a co-host sometimes, right? If he's not, I don't know if he's still on the show.
Yes, so it's the Snooze You Lose podcast. We usually drop every Monday. Right now we're doing about 2 to 3 episodes a month. Comes out
Mm,
every Monday, and I did have a co-host on there, my man Ron the Don, someone I grew up with, and just like I was saying before I started, me and Ron the Don are still close. That's my brother, but time waits for nobody, and I just felt like we had different directions, so I kept it going. So I've been doing this solo by myself about the last 2 3 months,
okay.
and it's still going well. The numbers are still looking good, and we still still try and have guests on from time to time.
Right.
But right now I'm just rocking it solo.
That's dope. And hopefully, more sports picks up so you can give more advice on gambling because it's amazing that so many avenues you can do with sports. It's like it provides so many
Yeah, it's
possibility of jobs and stuff. So I definitely
we
hope that
had
picks up.
obviously that drought from COVID, March to July, we didn't really have anything going on besides like soccer and tennis and stuff
Mhm.
like that. But since July, I mean, literally every sport has been on. I mean, the NBA just finished, but you've had baseball, you had hockey, you had NBA. Now you got football, you got college football even going. So we've been extremely busy um, in the last few months with everything back up and running.
Right. What's one of the last few books you read that you really enjoy that you would recommend to those listening or watching if it's on YouTube?
The last book I read. Mm, I would say you might have me stumped. I'm not even sure. I have to really think about that. Um,
I probably should have said this in our pre-rehearsal real quick just to
yeah,
let you know
I,
my
I'm
fault.
not even sure. I don't even want to lie to the people. I'm not even sure on that one. Even with myself, I'm just like a big podcast guy now myself too. So I don't even couldn't really tell you the last time I really sat down and really fully read one beginning to end.
Mhm.
Um, I
All right, so let me rephrase the question then. What's one of your favorite books of all time that you've completed that you feel like that's a good book? If I ever get a chance, I'll reread that one.
okay. Tuesdays with Maury, Mitch
Yeah,
Albom.
that's what made me want to write.
Yeah, I love that book.
And
Great author.
you know why?
Movie was
It's
decent.
right. The book is much better. But what I
Yeah,
loved about that book is that he wrote in such a simplistic way
right.
that it
Yeah,
makes you feel like you can write too.
absolutely. Yeah,
But the thought and the complex of what was happening inside the story was deep.
and he was a sports analyst too. He used to be on a
Yeah,
show on Sunday.
Mitch Albom, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
He even wrote the Fab Five book. That's
yeah.
like and gave them no money. So, but that's a story for another day.
That's how it be, man.
Yeah,
Everybody's always looking out for themselves.
absolutely.
Unfortunately, that's how it be.
No, absolutely. So no, Tuesday with Morrie was definitely a great story, and I recommend anybody that's in the reading a good true story with a warm stories of
Right, right.
for the heart. Tuesday with
Yeah.
Morrie is definitely a recommended book for me too. That's for sure.